Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Darren. Hope you're all well. So today is another stitch with me, and as you can see, we're going to be working on Chief Eagle Spirit, which is a DMC kit. And this is where we're starting from. And I think I managed to sort it. I think I've managed to just grab the fabric under the Q-snap here, so I can actually stitch this bit, which is good. Let's get you zoomed in. So it's mainly going to be one colour today. And as I say, this one is this part I'm going to be doing is 2 over 1/10 stitch or half stitch. So I just need to work out where I'm starting from. I'm hoping I don't rock this too much. Right, let me get comfy. So I'm working on a paper pattern on this one, so you may have to excuse me if I have to go silent while I look away to find out where I'm going. Well, the pattern right at the side of me. It's not the really easy to, I've just unthreaded my needle. That was a good start. I did a couple of stitches. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2. So let's start with the usual work update. You know you love it. So we've got one of the guys off with COVID. His girlfriend caught it, and now he's got it. And now he was one of the guys who caught it at the beginning of the year, so he's got it again. But as far as I'm aware, he hasn't had his injections, so I don't know if that's got anything to do with it. So now he's off for a week. I thought we would have been asked to do overtime this week, because there seems to be an awful lot of wood in the yard, but they never said anything, so I was like, okay, I don't mind. I've also managed to break my saw. Well, not my saw, the sawdust extractor. I was working yesterday, so today's Saturday, so I was working yesterday, and all of a sudden my dust extractors were making an awful racket, and then all of a sudden they shut off. It's like, okay, have I tripped the power? Because sometimes where my saw is, the power trips. So I went and checked the power. No, that was all on. Went to the blowers, I call them blowers. Tried to turn them on, they wouldn't turn back on, but I could smell electrical burning, so I've obviously burnt the motor out on it somehow. But they are really old dust extractors. I think it's at least maybe about 15-20 years old. So the thing with workers, they don't like to pay to maintain equipment, so they don't get anyone out to service them or anything like that on a regular basis. The only time they get worked on is if something goes wrong with them. So I have a funny feeling that they are unrepairable. I'll say they're that old, they're probably not going to be able to get parts for them now. Now, the only thing I wanted to do was actually blow my saw up, and then that will force them to get me a new saw, which I am still waiting for. I got told I'm now getting a different saw, because the one that I was originally getting, the people are just not getting back to the manager, so he's now sourcing another one, but when that happens, I do not know. So luckily, because the other guy's off with COVID, I'm on his saw. I'm hoping. Oh, look at that, just on the edge of the screen. I'm hoping my hand doesn't get in the way too much. I still haven't mastered out how to do it without my hand getting in the way. So yeah, so luckily we have a spare saw at work, so I'm on there now, which is good because it means I'm creating something different to what I've been doing for the last 2 months, 3 months. Because that's getting quite boring, doing the same thing over and over and over again. I like to have a variety of things to do, not just doing the same thing. They are, at the moment, as well, looking into Shane doing his next truck license. So at the moment he's only on a HR license, so I think that's heavy rig. And they want him to do the one so he can tow a trailer, so they can get the new truck ordered. So they looked into it, and apparently there's a 5-week waiting list to get on this course. But it's roughly about 5 weeks time. Yeah, in about 5 weeks time, Shane will have actually held his license for a year, which is what he's meant to have done before he goes for this other license. So that kind of works out good. So they're looking into that now, so he could be doing that license very soon, and then hopefully he passes that, and once he's passed that, they will then order a new truck. Now, who gets the new truck? It's another question, whether it'll be Shane or whether it'll be the boss. Because the boss always seems to like to get the new stuff. Even though his truck is new itself, he will probably want to swap it out. And apologies, you just heard my phone. I've just released my update video. So you may hear that pinging going off a little bit. And again, apologies if all of a sudden I disappear. I have my washing out. I don't think it's going to dry, but I've got my washing out. But we are meant to get rain later on today. As I mentioned in my update video, we have another weather system coming in, so we might be getting a lot of rain. They reckon up to 200 mils, which means that a lot of places will flood again. But I think that 200 mils is over a couple of days, so it's not going to be all in one day, which is good. So other than that, that's it for work. Mum's doing good. My brother went away for 2 days the other week and left her on her own, and she was alright. My other brother just popped in every now and then just to see if she was okay. So she's doing well. She says it's starting to warm up over there. Yeah, she says it's starting to warm up a bit over there, so she's happy about that. So I've got a few questions today, because obviously I didn't answer any really in my last one, because I wasn't using this. So I've got a couple of questions. So we'll go through those. Oh, and here comes the cat. Yep, tiger. And I've lost where I am. There. Found where I am. 3. It's the only thing doing paper charts when you're not marking it at the same time as stitching, right? especially in ones where you've only got like 2 colours. I think there's only the 2 colours left to run through this part, which is this colour I'm doing now and the darker blue. And then obviously there's some little gaps, which is where the metallic's going. One, two, three, missed 2. Go. So yeah, without marking it off, it's going to be interesting. Right, let's get into these questions, because I know I've got a few. And I apologise as well, you may hear Tiger digging stuff up, because he's a little bugger. Right, so the first question is from Danielle, the Cardiff Stitcher, who asks, what size frames do I use with the Lowry? I've got a Lowry the other weekend, but the Q-snaps I'm using seems to wobble. It's a 17 by 8, if I remember correctly. So I use either an 8 by 8 or an 11 by 17, or 17 by 11, which way you want to look at it. Give me 2 seconds, I've lost myself again. Here we go. So mine don't really wobble. It's normally the frame that wobbles a little bit if it's not anchored down properly. But with the frames, to make sure that they're in fully with your, I'm gonna have to zoom out again in a second to show you. Let me just finish this row and then I'll zoom out so I can show you what I mean. But basically you make sure that your Q-snap clips are in the right spot for when you go to tighten it up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. This one. This one. There. Right, so let me just zoom you out. So, as you can see, you got your Q-snap part on there. So when you're getting ready to put it into your Lowry, you make sure that that is sideways, not straight on. I'm going to move the screen, so apologize. So on here you can see that one's just flat with it. That one's at a slight angle. I can't get you in the other side. That one's at a slight angle. So you make sure it's like an angle, so that it's twisted like that. And then when you put it into the Lowry will clamp round it, which keeps it more firmer. And then you tighten it and keep tightening it, basically. So you just keep tightening it and tightening it. Don't tighten it obviously too far. You'll know when you've gone far enough because you can't really twist it any further, and that just keeps it steady. I've never had a problem with it coming loose on there at all. So that should help you, hopefully, Danny. But you've also got to make sure as well that it's not these that are loose, the clamps, because although it may be new, with the new one, when you get new Q-snap, they're normally pretty good at gripping everything. But obviously after a little bit of time, they get a little bit looser. So I just put felt under mine, or the fabric, and that makes it tight. So then, but like I say, I've never had a problem with mine wobbling. If it does wobble at any point, it's normally because I've not tightened it up enough. So if that's the case, just give it another couple of turns with the clamp. So, but again, if that doesn't work, Danny, just let me know and I'll do you a little video or something of how I put mine in. Right. Just checking over my screenshots I've taken. You answered this one last time. Ah, okay, so this one is from Jodie. It was, I think this was following on from my little tutorial I did on different stitches. When you start your floss as one thread, I understand how you're doing it, but aren't you afraid that the first stitch might loosen up since you're not actually stitching over the tail because that area had already been stitched? Or are you hoping the tail does not get pulled all the way out when you're starting in the area that's been stitched already? So with doing the single strand one, because I start a couple of stitches away, so say I'll put it down here and then stitch over here, that, because it's going at an angle, the thread underneath, it automatically, when you go over your first leg and then come back up underneath to do your second part of your leg, that automatically catches that diagonal thread going across, so it always pins it in place. So then when even if you're just doing single stitch, when you then tie it off, it's still secured because your thread over it is tight enough to keep it in place. I hope that makes sense, Jodie. I think I should really start writing these questions down, and then I don't have to keep stopping and looking to try and find them. Keep losing where I am on my pattern. So let's have a look. Next question. I really need to stop taking screenshots of stuff. I hope you all like the little felt I added on the end of the last stitch with me, of me in my younger years. Next one's from Danielle again. When you cut up a project, how do you decide what count fabric you're going to use? And also, how do you decide if you're going to stitch 1 or 2 strands, or if we're doing full cross or 10? When you do 10 stitch, aren't you worried about your fabric warping? I want to do 10 stitch, but I'm worried the fabric will warp, and it also feels like I'm cheating because it's not cross stitch. So 1, it's not cheating. It's just getting a piece done even quicker. So how do I decide what count fabric I'm going to use? I just go for my favourite. So 9 out of 10, 28 count. So I just go for the ones that I know I can see. So I can definitely see 28 count easily. So that's why I just continue with the 28 count. I think nearly all mine, apart from the kits and 2 others, I think all of mine are on 28 count now. Oh no, the one I started the other day is 25 count, which was the leopard cub. But other than that, all the rest are on 28 count. So I just go for 28 count because that's my go-to. I'm gonna have to go and get a highlighter in a minute so I can see where I'm going. Which one am I on? That one. With regards to fabric warping, doing tent stitch, I've never had that problem, but I just continually go how I'm doing it here. So I don't go like from bottom to top, one row, and then on the way back top to bottom. I think that's continental stitch, I believe. I don't do it that way. I just do mine all the same way. So bottom to top. I lost my thread. Yes, I'm still bin stitching even though I'm doing half stitch because it covers it over so I don't see it anyway. And then my floss from the front because I can't be bothered to turn it over. And it's easier, saves time. So also, right, continuing with Danny's questions, how do I decide if I'm going to do 2 strands or 1 strand? Because it's 28 count, it's 1 strand if I'm doing full cross, because the coverage is good enough on 28 count for that. 25 count, that one's 1 full cross as well, single strand, because I think the coverage on there is okay. Sometimes you can see a bit of the fabric through if you're doing a lot of dark colours. But it's not noticeable from a distance. Only when you're right up close can you see the gaps. Or when you take a photo for printing your video, then you can see all the gaps. Oh, that's where I am again. There. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. As to how I decide whether I'm going to do full cross or tent stitch, as I've mentioned this before, it depends on how fast I want to get the piece done. But just lately, I'm really enjoying doing the 1/1 full cross. So, well, the full cross. So that's what I've been doing on all my projects as from now. I'm just liking how they're all turning out. I didn't go through in the right spot. So I'm enjoying the 1/1 at the moment. Tent stitch is definitely not cheating. Have I missed anything else on there? No, I think that's all that part entered. So next one's from Dawn. Do you have an 8 trick for starting threads for single strand backstitch without a knot or running under the back? And what about ending threads without having to flip the piece? Do you always do a pin stitch or usually flip it over? So, if I can do a pin stitch, I will do a pin stitch. 28 counts, I can't do a pin stitch on 28 count. I just can't seem to get the needle in the right spot. So with the 28 count, I always flip the project over that I'm working on. For doing single strand backstitch, I just started exactly the same as I do with my single strand full cross. So say you're doing one going that way, I'll start up here, but I'll come up there with my thread and then go up and over and then down and over, and then that will catch that thread and stops it from coming out. So I've never tied a knot in mine doing backstitching. If it's a thread, like if it's on really large count, like say 14 count, that one it doesn't always work, so I do run it under the thread behind. But normally I can just start it like going down one hole and then coming up a bit further down, then start doing my backstitching. Right. It works for me. But ending threads, like I say, I always do the pin stitch if I can. If you don't want to do the pin stitching, you don't want to, well, if you can't do the pin stitching, you don't want to turn it over, you can just do like what I mentioned before, just say come up further down your project. You can't even see where I am. Come up further down your project. Where am I there? So like say there, and then just leave it until you stitch near it, and then you can just cut it off, and that'll pin it all in place anyway. Denise asked the same question, which method do I use for backstitching? So that's that. I mentioned that one. I've got backstitching on this one, so when I get to backstitching, I'll show you how I do it. That's when I get to backstitching. Maybe a while yet. Always makes me laugh when you're doing the background colours, you get like great big gaps in between them, just to fill in with the other colour. This does go really quickly, obviously because it's backstitching. So it does go really quickly, which I don't mind. It's just the counting with the gaps and making sure you've got the gaps in the right spot. Someone asked as well how I find going from Ada to Evenweave. Doesn't bother me at all, it's exactly the same stuff. Evenweave and Ada is exactly the same. It's called Evenweave because you get the same amount of threads going across as you do down, which you do in Ada. So it's exactly the same. So it makes no difference to me whatsoever. I learned that from Karen Needlebook. She told me that. So yeah, so Ada is actually Evenweave. Someone said they've heard about a 2-stranded loop finish, or loop end. That one, I'm going to research into that one. I haven't got around to researching that one yet. I'll see if I can get that one done for next stitch with me. But yes, I know there is a loop finish, but I don't know. I've never used it myself, so I'm not sure how that one goes. So I'll let you know. Next one is from Darth Vader Stitches. Who says, the boys want to know what Shane's ring is. If yours is I don't care, his I don't either. No, his is a Rihanna song, but I can't remember for the life of me which one it is. But his is Rihanna. But I'm not sure which one. It went off the other day and I was like, oh, I'll remember that ringtone, and I completely forgot to mark it down, so I remembered which one it was. So, well, yeah, his is a Rihanna one, so. It would be fun if he had one that says I don't either. That would be really funny. I'd be like, ring me, and then I'm going to ring you. So Shane's not here at the moment. He's already over at his sister's, hoping to get everything ready for the baby shower. So his niece come and picked him up this morning. I had to get the washing done anyway, so I was like, I'll just come over later on, because it's not starting till 2. And his niece came over at 9:30 to pick him up. Just lost where I am. There. I'll tell you, it's a lot harder doing paper charts than it is pattern keeper. I'm definitely spoiled. I've actually still got a couple of metallic stitches to put in here that I missed. I don't know how I missed them, but I did. So I've still got a couple more of them to put in this piece as well, around near the feathers. You know, I take so many screenshots of things I don't need on here. Bronwyn wants to know how many whips I currently have now. I was actually sorting my spreadsheet out the other day, and I think I'm now at, well, with the 4 that I've got planned for starting, that'll take me to, I think it's nearly 52 whips. I mean, I know I'm going to be over 50 now, put it that way. So, yeah, that's kind of gone up a little bit. So here's me wanting to get them down, and I seem to be adding more to them. Oh, it was Mary who asked, does it bother you from switching from Ada to Evenweave? So I'll just answer that for you, Mary. No, it doesn't, because it's the same stuff. And I think that's it for the questions. That's it. It didn't take as long as I thought it would do. Now we'll find out where I was again. This one, 2. So where are we up to? 35 minutes. So it seems to be around about the 30 odd minutes when I finish doing the questions. It's as if I time it. So yes, as I mentioned, the eldest niece, so Shane's niece, she's having the baby shower today. She come over yesterday to print some stuff off. So she's due in July, so she's got, I think she said she's got 12 weeks, 11, 12 weeks left before she's dropped. The baby's already turned into position, he's just facing the wrong way. So, from what I understand, so he's head down. But from what I understand, it's meant to be, his spine is meant to be, so it's like spine to spine kind of thing, if how I understand it, but he's facing the opposite way around, so his spine's like at the front, so he's just got to turn around and then he'll be due. So yeah, he's already gotten himself into position ready. So I says to her, I said he might be early. She said, well, you don't want to be too early. She says, I've still got a fair few weeks to go. It's like, yeah, that doesn't matter. Babies come when babies want to come. So they're still deciding on a name. Her boyfriend wants to call him Dallas. I was like, okay. She wants to call him Hudson. I was like, different names. But it's like I said to her, I said, yeah, you may have these names picked out, but as soon as it's born, you'll be like, nah, you're neither of those. You're probably a Robert or something like that. She said, yeah, probably. So yes. So they still haven't 100% decided on a name yet, but we'll wait and see when it's born. Right, I'm just going to get a highlighter. I'll be back in a minute, guys. And I'm back. Just marked off what I've done. I'm not doing too bad. 142 stitches so far. So, if any of you are wanting something to watch and you have Netflix, apologies, there's an idiot driving around outside. When I was going for the highlighter, he decided he was going to make as much noise as he could going down the street. Dingbat. So yes, if you're wanting something good to watch and you have Netflix, there was a new series brought out. Now, it's a 7-part series, I think. But in all, it's not a very long series. Each episode's on something like 35, 40 minutes long. And it is called Heartstopper. So if you want something to watch, I would highly recommend watching that one. Now, normally it's not the kind of thing I would watch. But I really, really enjoyed it. So it's about a couple of school kids. And they're figuring out their life, if you like. Figuring out their sexuality and overcoming being bullied and stuff like that. And it is really, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can also relate to it as well, in some instances. So, but yeah, it is definitely a good program to watch. So, as I say, I think all in all, I think you can watch it all in maybe 3 or 4 hours. But I would highly recommend it. I'm going to say, from all the reviews I've seen on it so far, everyone is raving about it. Like I say, I'm obviously late to the party. It's been out for you can't even see what I'm stitching here. Excuse me. It's been out for a couple of weeks, I'm guessing. So, but I watched the first episode. Well, when it first started, I was like, okay, maybe. It was. We'll see how it goes. And then, by the end of the first episode, I was hooked. It was like, right, I need to watch the next one, see what happens. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's Heartstopper. So I highly recommend watching that one. So I've just seen posts about it on Facebook and stuff like that, going how sweet it is and all this. So I was like, okay, whatever. And we'll give it a look and see what it's like. Yep, highly recommend it. 10 out of 10 in my books. So whether they're going to do any more, I don't know, because you know what Netflix are like. They say, oh yeah, we're going to do like so many seasons of this and so many seasons of that. And then you still sit there waiting years later for next season to come out. I watch a lot of the Marvel ones on there, so Loki and Falcon and can't remember the what it is. Yeah, and I'm still waiting for the second seasons of them to start. But this one, it doesn't need to continue. It doesn't need to follow on. But they've left it so it can definitely follow on. I'm gonna say I think there's 5 books or something like that in the series that they've adapted it from. But it's really good. Haven't really watched anything else. At the moment we've got The Voice on over here, so Shane's obsessed with The Voice, so we have to sit watching The Voice on a night time. And now they're advertising Big Brother. I was like, yeah, we're not watching Big Brother. There's no way we're watching Big Brother. I watched that when it first started over in the UK, and I watched maybe 2 seasons of that, and I've never watched it since, because it just got so ludicrous. So I've never watched it. One of my friends actually applied to be on Big Brother in the UK. I mean, she was a really bubbly person. You had a right laugh with her and stuff like that. But apparently she wasn't what they were looking for. They were looking for specific people. And I was like, okay then. So obviously they're only looking for people who's going to go in and cause trouble or whatever. And from the adverts from the new one, there's a guy that's going in there and he seems to be a right doofus. And he used to be a model. And by the looks of it, he's only out to cause trouble. Oh, yeah, that's the only reason you're in there. As I say, I don't watch much TV nowadays. Every now and then I'll put on Netflix or Disney Plus and find something to watch. Sometimes I can find stuff, and sometimes I was like, nah, I can't be bothered. About 45 minutes at the moment, I think. It's the only thing when you stop the videos. It doesn't continue the time. It's starting to get a bit colder over here now. I've actually got, at the moment, 2 radiators on the go, with one cat in front of one and one cat in front of the another. So yeah, it's definitely cooled down a little bit, so hopefully winter's going to be here. But I was watching listening to one of my videos the other week, and this time last year, it was like, in the mornings, it was like -1 degrees. And at the moment here, it's still like 17, 18, so it's obviously a lot warmer than it normally is. Shane was saying he was speaking to one of the blokes at one of the other timber yards that he delivers to, and they said that the weather's all stuffed up. He says normally, this time of year where he lives, he says it's normally like minus something or other. I can't remember what he said now. And then during the daytime it's only like 16, and at the moment I say we're about 16, 17 at night time, and still like 27, 28 during the day. So we're either going to get a very warm winter, or it's all of a sudden going to change and it's going to be absolutely freezing. But we will see. So I don't know if you can remember on my update video the other week, I mentioned that I was having trouble with the bank. I still haven't got my money back. I'll just count these so I know where to stop. Still haven't got my money back. I found them up yesterday. I said to him, I was told it was going to take 24 to 48 hours to get my money back. They went, no, it don't work like that, unfortunately. It takes six working days. Because it was a public holiday over in the UK on Monday, they don't class that as a working day. So the 6th working day was yesterday. So she says, you've got to wait until the end of that day, and then I have to wait until the end of that day, but because that then takes it until Saturday, she says you may get it back on the Saturday. She says, but it probably won't be there till Monday. And I was like, really? She says, well, why did you tell me why was I told it was going to take 24 to 48 hours? I went, I have no idea. He says, because it never takes that. He says, unfortunately, with credit cards or credit card companies, he says it works out different because although they are kind of run by a bank, not everybody has to bank with them in order to get the credit card. So they just state 6 working days for everything, and they generally stick to that 6 working days. It's like, oh, great. So I'm still waiting for my money back. So I'm hoping, she said it may go in today, Saturday. It may, but then again, it may not. I was like, well, thank you very much. What have I done here? Where am I? Oh, true. I'm looking at the wrong row here. I put stitches in, I don't need to stitch. Now way up. I can hear a lawnmower. I don't know why he cut his grass yesterday, so I don't know what he's doing now. One. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. This 1, 2, 5. 2, 4, 5. This one. 1, 2. This 1, 2. Oh no, I'm in the right spot. I did do it right. Yeah, he cut his grass yesterday, just before it rained. So I don't know what he's doing now, but I can hear his lawnmower, or strimmer, one of them. See, every time I do a stitch with me, he comes out magic. Luckily, it's near the end of the stitch with me. But every time. We've done well as well. Shane hasn't phoned, which I'm surprised. I thought it was probably going to phone and say, oh, I forgot to bring this over. Can you bring it over when you come over? Nope. Apparently they're playing some games at the baby shower. You've got to bring nappies, or diapers, however you pronounce it, where you're from. So I have no idea what they're doing with that. Obviously, I'm not taking any nappies. I'll let the kids play. So I have no idea what they're doing with the nappies, but should be interesting to watch. Hopefully it's not going to go on too long. So it starts at 2 o'clock, and I think they're hoping at wrapping up about 4. But I'm hoping this storm turns up that's meant to be turning up and they finish it early. Can I get 4 stitches out of this last little strand? We'll soon find out. Probably not. 1, 2, 3. Maybe just. I'm not going to be able to pin it though, so I'll have to turn it over and run it under. 4. Yeah, there we go. Did it. So this is the only one where the back actually looks quite neat. It's mainly because it's all tent stitches or big blocks of colour. This is the original needle that came with it as well. So this needle has been in this project for, when did I start it? I think I started 2009. So what's that? 13 years? It's still the original needle. So this needle lasted long, not like some of the ones I've got at the moment that don't last very long at all. Let's see, so there we go. So as you can see, we've done a fair bit in there. Let's mark it off and tell you how many we've done all together. Which one did I just do that one? Another 106. So we're on 248 stitches. That's not too bad in roughly an hour. So we're going to leave it there then, guys. So hope you enjoyed. Again, have any questions or comments, please feel free to drop those down below. Or you can send me an email. Again, email address dizzystitcher@gmail.com. Or you can send me a message on Instagram. I'm on dizzystitcher on there. Again, as I mentioned in my update video, if you do send me a question, if you do just get a heart, it means I have read it and I will be answering it in my next Stitch With Me. Unless I think it's one that needs to be answered straight away, then I'll answer it straight away. So there we go, guys. So that's Cheese Eagle Spirit. So obviously this will get a bit more work on throughout one of the days this week. So who knows? May get close to a page finish, because that's all one colour. So that's going to be quick, easy feel. So if not finished, it should be close to a finish on that page. So fingers crossed. So that's it from me then, guys. So again, thank you very much for watching and listening to me babble and everything else. And I will catch you in my next video, which will probably be my update video next weekend. So until then, stay safe, happy stitching, and until my next video, thanks for watching. Bye bye for now.